Hi guys, welcome back to The Ratchet Christian. My name is Asmau and I am The Ratchet Christian. So today, as promised, we're talking about 6 ways to get over your ex. Last week we talked about 6 reasons why you can't get over your ex. And if you missed that video, I will put it in the description. Just click on it and you'll be able to find it. So today we're going to talk about 6 ways to get over your ex. And the first one is forgiveness. I know, like, it seems like so simple, not simple, but like cliche, like, oh, you have to forgive people in order to move on. But it really is true. You really do have to forgive people in order to move on. And forgiveness is like this like mystical concept. Like, what is forgiveness really? You know what I mean? Forgiveness is just choosing to let things go, you know, letting things just like, it is what it is, you know what I mean? And it's like forgiveness does not mean that whatever happened in the relationship was okay. Forgiveness is just choosing to let it go and move on with your life. And what I've realized and had to learn through my past relationships is that forgiveness is a choice. I have to choose to forgive somebody for hurting me every single day. You know, it's not like this one and done thing that sometimes people make forgiveness out to be, like, oh, I chose to forgive them and that's it. No, sometimes you have to choose to forgive people every single day, because the way my mind works is it'll bring it up every single day. You know what I mean? And if your mind works the same way, if every day you're thinking about the way somebody cheated on you, the way somebody, you know, like played you, like, you have to let that go. And the only way you can let that go is to every day choose, like, you know what? It's fine. And I literally have to say that to myself, because when I wake up in the morning, the first thing the devil wants to make me think about is like, hey, remember what your ex did in 2005? And I'm like, yes, I remember. And I'm choosing to forgive them. Like, that was like freaking 15 years ago. You know what I mean? So forgiveness is a day-to-day choice. And the first way to get over your ex is to forgive them. Forgive them for whatever happened in the relationship. It doesn't make it okay, but you are going to just choose to let it go, even if you have to make that decision every single day. Because maybe yesterday was a good day, you were able to forgive easily. Today may be a hard day and you're thinking about what they did and you want to stab them. But instead you're going to be like, you know what? It is what it is. It's fine. Let me go on with my day and go have some breakfast. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to ask God to divorce you from the soul tie that you have with them. In the last video, I also talked about soul ties and just explained that, you know, our souls, our mind, will, and our emotion get linked to people. You know, so sometimes you may find it hard to get over a particular ex because you have a soul tie with them. And so you can get soul ties through sex, but you don't necessarily always have to have sex in order for a soul tie to be formed. You can have a deep, intense, emotional soul tie with somebody that can make it hard for you to get over them, even if sex wasn't involved. And so with soul ties, it's like a spiritual marriage. And so because of that, you have to take it to God and ask God to deliver you from that soul tie. You might just need deliverance from a person. You know, sometimes it gets passed beyond a breakup, you know. Sometimes you really can't break up with people because it gets to the point where you need deliverance. And deliverance is just like a fancy word of, it's a spiritual matter. So you have to handle it in a spiritual way, and you literally have to take it to God and be like, God, like, I literally need you to divorce my spirit from this person's spirit, because I can't do it on my own. I can't move forward on my own. It's too hard. So ask God to deliver you from the soul tie that you have with them. You know, take the person's name to God. I literally, when I was really getting serious about my relationship with Jesus, I wrote down a list of every single person I've ever dated, drove somewhere, you know, sat in a car and literally went through name by name, like, God, please divorce me from this person, divorce me from that person, you know, like, break the soul tie with this person, break the soul tie with that person. Sounds like there was a million people, my God. I know what y'all thinking, judging me. But yeah, you got to do what you got to do. When you're really ready to move forward and get out of a situationship, you got to get desperate sometimes. And so when you get desperate, you got to take it to God and be like, God, please break this soul tie that I have with so-and-so, because it's making it hard for me to move on from them. So number 3 is to limit the access they have to you. Listen, I believe in the block ministry. I block people. You're blocked, she's blocked, he's blocked, you're blocked here, you're blocked there. I be blocking people. But you know what? That's not the healthiest thing to do, because one thing I realized is, like, I'm going to end up very alone and my life is going to be very empty if I'm always blocking people when I get upset with them. Now, is it necessary to block some people? Absolutely. You know, does it come to a point where, you know, you can't move forward without blocking somebody? Absolutely. And so I don't want to say block people, if you need to block a particular ex, but I'm saying limit the access that they have to you. You know what I mean? Like, imagine you're doing good in your life, and every 6 months, one text message from them can just ruin all the work that you've been doing on yourself for months. That's not fair to you, you know? And one thing I realized is, like, you know, people will walk in and out of your life for as long as you let them. As long as you're an open door, people are going to continue to walk in and out of your life. So sometimes you have to limit the access that they have to you. You may not be able to be friends with your ex on Instagram. You may not be able to follow them and see how amazing their life is and see how rich her new boyfriend is, sir. You may not want to see her sitting across the table from a nice watch every single summer. So you might just have to block her, you know, or restrict the access that you have to her profile, or just stop texting her, stop texting back. Like, limit the access that people have to you, because people get very comfortable walking in and out of other people's lives. And it's like, if there's one thing I realized, it's like, no, like, you need to, like, be bringing value into my life. You can't just be hanging around the perimeter to come in and out whenever it is that you want to, because that makes it really hard to move on. So if you're trying to move on to your ex, from your ex, limit the access that they have to you, and that could look different for you. It may not necessarily see, I'm speaking so much truth, I had to sneeze. God bless me. It may not necessarily mean you blocking them, but you got to figure out, like, what that looks like to you. You know what I mean? So number 4 is to stop having sex with them. If you're trying to move on from your ex, I hate to break it to you, but you gotta stop having sex with them. I know the sex is fire. I know it's bomb. I know it's just like, you know what, he lays it down. She does this thing that I like. But if you're trying to get married, you're trying to move on, sir, you know you're looking for a wife, you know you're ready to settle down and have kids, but that ex that you had from high school, you know the thing that she does that you really like, and you just keep going back to her and you don't know how to get over her. Meanwhile, she's in a whole nother relationship. Like, you're gonna have to stop hooking up with your exes, because that makes it exponentially harder to leave somebody alone when you keep going back and having sex with them. Been there, done that. It eventually turns into hate sex, and hate sex is great for a while, but eventually it just turns into you hating that person. So stop hooking up with your exes. I know it's hard, I know it's good, but you know, it's gonna be better with the person that God has for you one day. You're just gonna have to walk away from that, you know what I mean? And just, you know, put that on the back burner for the time being, because what we all really want is true emotional connection. What we all really want is true vulnerability and intimacy with somebody, you know, and sex isn't all of that. You know what I mean? Sex is only part of a relationship, so you can't just stay in a bad, toxic situation with somebody because the sex is good. You know, and I've literally been around conversations where people are like, girl, yeah, I know he's toxic, but he lays it down. And it's like, yeah, but he, like, is so mean to you. And that matters, you know, it matters if somebody doesn't treat you well. It doesn't matter how good the sex is. You don't need to stay in a toxic, abusive, unfruitful situation because of it. You know what I mean? So stop hooking up with your exes. I know it's hard, but it'll be worth it when you have the real bae, the real one that God sent you, and, you know, it's gonna be good. Trust me. When I find out, I'll tell you. So number 5 is stop going on their social media. Stop lurking on your ex's social media. Stop lurking on their Instagram. Stop making fake Instagram pages to watch their stories. Stop, you know, hitting them up on WhatsApp. Stop emailing them. Like, stop, like, lurking on your ex's social media, because it's going to be so hard to move on from somebody if you're constantly watching their life, you know, watching their every single move. Oh my gosh, you're at this party. Who's that girl in their story? Who's that guy that she's sitting across from at brunch? Like, I wonder if, like, they have done anything. Like, it just makes it exponentially harder to move on from people if you're still following them on social media, if you're still lurking on their social media, if you're still clicking on this person's page to find out what comment they made on their page. Like, it's just too much. It's too much. It's just better off to, like, you know what, focus on your own life, focus on what you have going on, and just trust that, you know, better will come. You know what I mean? So stop going on your ex's social media. It makes it that much harder to get over them. You know what I mean? If you keep checking up on their life, let them go on with your life, and you go on with your life. And who knows? You know, maybe one day you guys' lives will come back together, but you're not going to be able to ever have that moment if you're constantly checking their life and you're not focusing on your own. So that's number 5. Number 6 is spend more time with God, because he's close to the brokenhearted. Number 6, like, the best way to get over your ex is to spend more time with God, you know. And that again sounds like really, like, metaphysical, like, spend more time with God, but it's like, no, really, like, pray more, you know, read the scriptures more, listen to more sermons. When I got out of a really toxic relationship, what was so beneficial for me was to listen to sermons, you know what I mean? Because my mind used to just go off thinking about all these things. What if I would have did this? Well, why did he say that? Like literally just overthinking, overanalyzing, getting myself all anxious. Like it was terrible. It was literally like me being mentally tormented. And the only time that I had peace was when I was listening to a sermon. So spend more time with God, you know, whatever that may look like for you. I know church is closed in some areas right now, so you may not even physically be able to go to church, but make it a priority to watch church online, listen to worship music, listen to sermons on YouTube. I could send you a million good sermons if you need some, but just go to God, you know, let God love you, let God comfort you, let God, you know, give you the attention and validation that you need, because it's going to be beneficial to helping you heal. So that was number 6. And I have a bonus. Number 7 is to take accountability for the role that you played in the relationship. If you really want to get over your ex, you have to, you know, sit back and think like, what role did I play in making the situation as toxic as it was? You know, what role did I play in the breakup? You know, you have to take some part of the blame. And granted, it doesn't mean you take all of it. You know, I have friends who take all of the blame for everything that like went wrong in the relationship, and I have to tell them like, it wasn't all your fault. You know, like he did some things too. She did some things too. And I know for me personally, I had to take accountability in the fact that in the relationship where I was hurt the most, I didn't have I shouldn't have been in it. You know, I shouldn't have been in it. I didn't pray about it. I rushed into it. I forced the situation. I lied my way through it. You know what I mean? And so because of that, I don't want to say it was my fault, but I had to take responsibility for the fact that I shouldn't have been with that person in the first place. And I knew it, but I forced it, and, you know, wanted it to happen so bad that I got that relationship that I wanted and ended up getting hurt in it, you know? And so that was my role. Granted, it's not my fault for how I was treated, but it was my fault for entering the situation that I knew from the beginning wasn't the healthiest. So take accountability for the part that you have played in the ending of that relationship, or whatever happened to that relationship. So that's 6 ways to get over your ex, plus a bonus 7. Next week, I don't know what it is that we're going to talk about, but it's going to be great. So make sure you come back, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video with a friend or two, and come back next week to see what it is that we're going to talk about. I love you guys so much. Have a blessed rest of your week, and I'll see you next week. Isn't that cool? You see my little cool ending when I do like, I'm just kidding. I'll stop bothering you guys now. But yeah, have a blessed rest of your week, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Like and subscribe. It is. But I just wanted to add, like, this takes a lot of trial and error. You know, it's not a one and done type of thing. You know, the 1 through 7 steps that I gave you, you may have to do those back and forth, on and on, for months, for years. You know, some day you'll get it right, some days you'll get it wrong, some days you'll feel really forgiving, the next day you're ready to cuss them out and pull up on their new girlfriend and beat her up at work. Don't do it. But you are gonna have days where you still feel like that, sir. You may want to go meet her new boyfriend, and, you know, I don't know what guys do when they get mad at people's new boyfriends, whatever. But whatever guys do, like, it's not every day that you're going to feel forgiving. It's not every time when they ask you to come over and hook up and hang out that you're going to be able to say no. You know, I think the key is that I want you guys to know, like, this is hard. You know, it's really, really hard to get over people. It's really, really hard to forgive people. But you just have to be patient with yourself and continue to try. As long as you don't give up, you are going to see a light at the end of that tunnel, you know. Like I said, I was breaking up with somebody for 5 years. It took me 5 years to get over one particular person. And I just don't want that for you guys. You know, it took a lot of trial and error and back and forth, you know, going 6 months without speaking, 3 months without speaking, a year without speaking, and I just never really stopped trying, you know, because I knew that I wanted something different. I knew that I wanted something better for myself. So I just want to encourage you guys and say, you're not going to get it right every single time. The key is just to not stop trying, because God has something better for you at the end of that tunnel. So that's it. I'll see you next week for next week's message. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment and share. Thanks, guys. Bye for real this time. For real this time. Bye.